It's been a full week since the Volume 3 update for Need for Speed Unbound, and now that I've had a chance to play it publicly in random servers, I've really got a chance to see it for what it really is. Let's go! Real quick before I get into the video, if you're looking for any of my builds or anything related to the channel, you can go to militiagamingco.com. I have a build page that has 3 different build spreadsheets on it, one for Heat, one for Unbound, and then another one for Unbound that is built by you guys, the community. If you want to be featured on that list, you can scroll down and enter your builds there. All right, let's get into this. So I want to start by saying my feelings on this update are very conflicting. There is a part of me that really loves the new additions to the game, and there's a part of me who can see why some people just may not be having fun with it. I'm sure you fall somewhere on that spectrum, and I encourage you to give me your Volume 3 feedback in the comments section below. I find that all of the opinions from the community really are valuable to me, so please do share that. But getting into this, I think that Volume 3 is definitely a step in the right direction. The biggest change to the gameplay being the 2 game modes that were added, Linkups and Drift playlists, and that's not to talk badly about the speed pass. It's fine. I like that we have something to grind for, but the biggest change in the way the game is played is because of these 2 events. So we're going to talk about these 2 things exclusively in this video because it changes the experience while you're playing. But let's talk about drift playlists for a second. This is something that has been missing from the previous 2 Need for Speed titles, Payback and Heat, so it's nice to see it return, and it isn't lost on me how difficult it is to implement this given the NOS mechanics of Unbound. The burst NOS really changes the way that you can or cannot drift a corner because of how it affects the handling physics. It's not a natural thing to have burst NOS, and that greatly affects what is supposed to be a fluid and poetic motion in drifting. They had to change the drift physics a lot if they wanted it to feel somewhat decent, and they did do that, and it actually feels pretty good to drift in Unbound now. I'm not going to hand it any awards for being the best drift game, but it's definitely miles ahead of where it was before the update, and it's not annoying once you have the correct car and build. Some cars are just not meant for drifting in Unbound, and the sooner you accept that, the sooner you will start having fun with it. As far as the playlists go, my only complaint is that there aren't more of them. Even the tracks that don't necessarily flow really well are still very fun to attempt. All in all, the drift playlists are a great addition to the game, and my complaints are very minor, and I think that they should just add more of that in the game. The Linkups are also a good addition to the game, but I can see one major flaw with these events. And to illustrate this, I really need to remind you briefly of the current state of Unbound. There are 3 types of players who are currently playing Unbound. The people who have been playing for a long time, the people who have decided to come back for Unbound Volume 3, and the people who have recently picked up the game for whatever reason, or because it's now included with EA Play or Game Pass, and they're just starting their multiplayer journey. Out of those 3 types of people, the most optimistic and happy-go-lucky people are the ones who have just installed the game. They are clay that is ready to be molded by their experience that they're having right now, and the past states of the game really don't matter to them at all. The people who have been consistently playing for a long time are the smallest group and are the most happy after this update. I'm one of those people. I've had more fun with this game this week than any other week since the launch week when everything was brand new. And finally, people who have decided to come back to try the Volume 3 update. This group has the most number of unhappy people in it because they have left the game due to being bored or upset with the lack of content or whatever the reason is that they left in the first place. And Volume 3 isn't going to shift the minds of people who dislike the game. It isn't a big enough update to do that, and to be honest, if you're one of those people who just really dislikes Unbound, it's okay. And I don't think anything that Criterion does will ever be good enough to change your mind. You're gonna have to wait for the next game to have a chance at being content with a Need for Speed again. And again, it's okay. I'm not talking down to anyone. Also, side note, not everyone who came back to try Volume 3 is unhappy with it. I realize that I'm speaking in general terms here, so I just want to have everyone be represented in what I'm talking about. The people who've come back to try Volume 3, they have the most unhappy people in it, but not everybody who's in that group is unhappy. Alright, anyways, let's get to my point about the Linkups. Here is the biggest flaw. Linkups are the highest paying event in multiplayer. They are also the event that is featured the most in the daily and weekly challenges. The game is asking you to play Linkups, and that's exactly what these lobbies are doing. They're just playing Linkups. So much so that it's nearly impossible to get people to accept regular playlist invites. If you're not playing with friends and you're trying to unlock new cars by competing in B-tier playlists, good luck getting anyone to accept your invite so you can unlock your cars. All of those new players I just talked about who are just getting into Unbound and have no cars unlocked are for sure getting frustrated because they can't get into a playlist, and the same with the players who just came back to the game who have maybe not unlocked all of the cars before they left. And that leaves the smallest group of players, the players who have been playing this entire time. We are happy to be doing something other than racing for a bit. It's refreshing, but I don't think that's the recipe for long-term happiness. I think that there can be a happy medium that suits all players, including the ones who have just started the game. Removing Linkups is obviously not an option, and I hate the idea of making them less rewarding because I want more money in the game so that I can build more cars. I also think that the rewards from the racing playlists shouldn't be adjusted either. The change that needs to take place is to add more time in between the Linkup events. Let me explain. So right now, you finish a Linkup and you're chased by the cops. About half of the players are skilled enough to get away from the cops very quickly, and those players have about 5 to 7 minutes or so to get into a drift playlist or to make changes to their cars or whatever, but they don't have enough time for a full race playlist and then still be back in time for the next Linkup. The other half of the people have a harder time escaping, and by the time they do escape, there may be another Linkup that already started, or they only have a minute or two before the next one starts, which means those people are definitely not accepting race playlists. I think if they increase the time between the Linkups to about 15 minutes, people would end up jumping into a race playlist or a drift playlist in between the Linkups and then jump back into the Linkups when they get done. The average playlist is around 10 to 15 minutes, so the timing would be perfect. Just put 15 minutes between each of the Linkups. The people unlocking cars could do so. Players who want to farm Linkups could add a little bank to their accounts in between farming those Linkups, and the players who are there to race would have more success getting people to accept race invites, making their experience better as well. To me, this is the only change that needs to happen with the Linkup events and the Volume 3 update in terms of improving the overall experience and longevity of the game. Now, obviously there are tons of other criticisms that I could say, but I think this one is the most important because it has a direct effect on literally everyone that's playing the game currently, and it changes the way that everyone plays. It doesn't just point everyone in the direction of Linkups, and every moment of every server is all about playing Linkups, and it just shouldn't be that way. But I also don't want them to take away the money that you're gaining from Linkups. I just want it to be a little bit more balanced. So with all of that said, it's pretty safe to say the Need for Speed Unbound hasn't been saved by the Volume 3 update, but it is a better game now than it was before the update, and that's progress. We still have one more content update coming with Volume 4, and I really hope that they are listening to the feedback because I'm enjoying this game more now than ever, and I'd love to see more progress in the future. Once again, please let me hear your thoughts on this. Also, if you have any questions about anything that I do, my DMs are always open, and I literally read every single DM that comes my way, so don't hesitate to ask. Sometimes it takes me a little bit to get to them, but send them. I will read it and reply. Thank you guys so much for watching. Shout out to all the Heat 5 members of the channel. We'll catch you on the next one. Trigger out.